Hello, everyone, and welcome to Body Bags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. And the movie I chose to talk about today is Tobe Hooper's 1976 movie, Eaten Alive. Um, this movie was Tobe Hooper's follow up to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And while this movie tends to get a bit of hate, but I actually enjoy this movie. I mean, come on. Any movie that begin the very beginning of the movie, you start off with Robert Englund saying, "My name's Buck and I'm raring to fuck." I mean, that's I can't help it. That's fun for me. I don't know. But anyway, though, the story. I'm sure a lot of horror fans already know this movie, so it's kind of like I'm sorry. I know it's a little redundant to be going over the storyline of this movie, but the story is about this man, Old Judd. He runs the Starlight Hotel, and this movie actually has gone under a lot of different names. It's gone by Starlight Slaughter, Horror Hotel. I think Murder on the Bayou was another name for it. It went under many different titles, but Eaten Alive it's its most well-known title. But you have veteran character actor Neville Brand here, who he played Old Judd in this movie, and he runs this motel. And people who check into his motel, they don't have a very good time of it, and basically he ends up taking his scythe and killing them and feeding them to his pet crocodile and or alligator, I'm sure, but so anyway, so the movie opens, like I said, with Robert England. He's in a basically a whorehouse, a brothel, and he's trying to get this girl to do. It's not really clear whether or not he wants this girl to do anal sex or just wants to do doggy style. Who knows? But obviously, they're it's basically kind of a backwoods movie and stuff like that. So he's trying to get this girl to do what he wants, and she's like, no, 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 and she's not going to do that and stuff. And she starts shrieking and freaking out and all this other kind of stuff. And Robert England is like, hey, lady, all I want is what I paid for and everything else. Well, the madam who runs the brothel comes in, and the madam's played by Carolyn Jones, who we all remember her as, of course, Morticia Adams from the Adams Family, and we also remember her from, like the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers and stuff. And so she tells, Robert England's character, go on down. She don't want to do it. Go on down, get two girls, no extra charge. So it's like, I get two girls for the price of one, so he's happy. So he goes down, and she turns around on this girl and she's like, look, I took you in and I fed you and all this other kind of stuff. I told you what you're going to have to do. You don't want to work. You need to get out of here and all this stuff. So Carolyn Jones pretty much throws this old guy out, and she tells this woman who's basically kind of like the housekeeper of the place, to her, get her out of here and all this stuff. So the housekeeper, she takes her out back, and she gives her money and everything else, and she says, just be careful, like, okay, there's a hotel called the Starlight Hotel. You can stay there for the night and figure out what you're going to do in the morning and stuff. So she's like, okay, so she's upset and everything else, but she goes to the hotel and she meets Judd, who's I mean, right off the bat, Neville Brand is just super creepy, and just like the way the scene is lit and everything else. We'll get to this. I'll get to that in just a minute, but so basically, you're almost kind of like start almost like a Psycho kind of a scenario, and so he goes and or she goes and she checks in and stuff like that, and so he kind of starts going off, and you realize like right away this guy Judd is not in his right mind, and so it's like they're going up the stairs. He's like, wait a minute, I know you. And the girl turns out, you're one of those whores from Miss Hattie's place and all this. And so he just starts attacking her. And it's like, it's not clear. It kind of looks like he's trying to rape her, but you're not really sure if he's trying to rape her or just attack her, what he's trying to do. But anyway, so they fight and they scuffle and they fall down the steps and everything else. And so she's trying to get away and everything else, but I think like her leg is broken, she can't move, and so she's only able to crawl. Well, she crawls outside onto the porch and stuff like that, and he goes out there with his scythe and he attacks her with the scythe and everything else. And the poor thing, she's bleeding to death, and while she's still alive, he ends up over the porch. That's where he's got the water pit where his pet alligator is. So basically, he basically picks her up and throws her over, and she's getting pretty much eaten up by the eaten alive. She's getting eaten up by the crocodile or alligator. I'm sorry, I'm not very not very knowledgeable about such things, but so she ends up getting eaten up and stuff, and so Judd gets done. He kills her and all this other kind of stuff. So it's the same time though too. It's like Robert Englund keeps his character Buck keeps coming along and pestering Judd and everything else, and Judd's like, you immoral turd and all that. I know what you're doing and all this stuff. Well, this family pulls up, and the wife of the family is actually Marilyn Burns, who we all know her, we all love her from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the father is William Finlay, who we know from movies like Phantom of the Paradise and all other kinds of stuff. Tobe Hooper worked with him several times, like on Night Terrors and stuff like that. So they check into this hotel, and then we come to find out that well, the little girl is actually it's I believe it's Kyle Richards from Halloween. Yeah, I want to say it's Kyle Richards from Halloween. Yeah, it's the little girl from Halloween. But anyway, so they go there, and they have a dog, and the dog gets into the pit with the alligator and gets eaten up and stuff. So um, so they're upset and everything. They take the girl upstairs and all this other kind of stuff. And then Marilyn Burns and William Finlay, they're kind of getting into arguments and stuff like that. And we realize this guy, William Finley's character Roy, this guy is really off his rocker, and he's really kind of going over the top and stuff, which, I think it depends. Some people probably would not care for that. But so anyway, so he decides he's going to go and he's going to, kill the alligator and everything else. So he goes down, he gets a shotgun out of the car, and meanwhile Judd is like trying to tell him, no, don't do it and all this other kind of stuff. And so he's all like, this, this animal is dangerous. It almost it ate our dog. It almost attacked our child. So it's like, it's got to be put out. And so when he goes to try to kill it, then here comes Judd with his scythe and, attacks the father. And just when he's about ready to swing the death blow, the alligator jumps up and grabs him and pulls him down. And it's pretty gruesome, pretty gory. So, you do get some gore in this and stuff. So not Tobe Hooper's goriest movie, but it's definitely got some blood and gore to it. But so anyway, so now we're introduced to a new group of characters. There's a father played by Miguel Ferrer, and or no, not Miguel. Is it Miguel? No, Jose Ferrer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Jose Ferrer, and so him and his daughter, they're coming and looking. It turns out that the main girl from the beginning of the movie was actually their daughter, and so they were coming to get her so that they could bring her home and everything else. And but they don't know that she's already dead and stuff. So so they go to check out Miss Hattie's place, and then they run in with the sheriff. The sheriff is played by Stuart Whitman, and so they're trying to figure out like what's happening and all this other kind of stuff. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, you got like Judd. He goes in and he attacks Marilyn Burns' character, and the little girl, Kyle Richards, she sees this, and so she goes and she's like hiding underneath the hotel and everything. So he's trying to get to her, but he's got Marilyn Burns, tied up and everything, and she's gagged and everything else, and kind of like poor Marilyn Burns, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then here she is right around again. She's being tied up and gagged and attacked and all this other kind of stuff by crazy loonies and everything else. So she's kind of right back where she started from again, but. So he's like trying to, get the little girl out from under the hotel, and he's not having any luck. So basically, he opens up underneath the hotel so that the alligator can get in, and the alligator can get her. So she's trying to get away and everything else. And so at one point, they take the father back to the hotel. Jose Ferrer's character. And so he's like going up the stairs, and he hears the little girl crying and all that. So he's going out to investigate. So he's looking. He can hear the little girl crying, but he can't see her and everything. But just when he's, just when he's looking, and he looks up, and here comes Judd with the scythe, and he gets him like right through the neck. And it's really gruesome. It's really kind of a gory scene, and he's got blood coming out of his mouth and stuff. And so he falls down on the porch and everything else. Well, his leg is sticking off. Well, the alligator comes up, grabs him by the leg. And so it's like Judd's like trying to wrench the scythe free and everything else. And you almost think he's going to take the man's head off. but he's like trying to rinse the site free and everything else, and the alligator's pulling him down, to his death and everything else. A very very gruesome, very violent scene and stuff. So meanwhile, the sheriff, he takes the daughter, to get her something to eat, and they go to this kind of bar slash restaurant type thing, and you got Robert Englund's character. He's there like trying to pick fights with everybody. You got Janus Blythe from The Hills Have Eyes. She's kind of like his girl, but everybody's like looking at her and everything else because she's dressed pretty scanty and everything else. So Stuart Whitman comes up and they get into an argument, and Stuart Whitman tells Robert Englund, get out of here, take her with you, and all this other kind of stuff. So they leave, and so he takes Janus Blythe over to the hotel, because he already basically paid for the room, and so Judd's like, no, you can't go in there, and all this stuff, and so they're not listening to him, they're just kind of farting off with him. So they go into the room, and they're having a good time and all this other kind of stuff, and so Judd goes, he cranks this old country music up, and it's pissing Robert Englund off and everything else, and so but he's using basically he's using the music to cover the noise of Marilyn Burns, because she's upstairs and she's trying to scream as loud as she can, and she's bouncing up and down on the bed trying to get somebody to come and help her and stuff like that. But also too, he's trying to use the music to cover up the sound of the little girl, because she's under she's under the hotel, she's crying and whimpering and stuff like that. And so Robert Englund is just shut that goddamn music off and everything else. So he goes and turns the music down, and he can hear the little girl. So he's going out and he's checking and all this stuff. And so Judd comes up and he's like, I know what you're doing, all this other kind of stuff. And Robert, would you shut the hell up? Don't you hear that? And so he goes, he pushes Robert Englund into the water, and Robert Englund gets, attacked and eaten and stuff by the alligator and stuff. So Janus Blythe, she comes out, and basically you got kind of like a similar scene from Chainsaw Massacre where Janus Blythe is being, chased through the woods, except instead of Leatherface with, the chainsaw, it's Judd with the scythe. But, it does kind of call back, it does make you kind of call back to the chase scene in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And, but, just when you think Janus Blythe's character is going to be killed, this car pulls up, she's able to get in, they get out and go to safety and stuff. So, it's like time is running out and everything else. And, they're going to go get the cops and bring them back. Judd's going to go down and stuff. The girl, the sheriff, he drops off the daughter. She's going in and she's getting set in for the night. And one thing, there's like this long scene of her getting undressed, and if I remember correctly, I think Tobe Hooper wasn't really happy with that because the producer kind of forced him to, the producer wanted more nudity in the movie, so he kind of forced that on Tobe Hooper, told him to shoot it. So, but anyway, though, so she goes, she finds Marilyn Burns' character, so she unties her. They're trying to get away, and Judd is, he's attacking them and everything else, and poor Marilyn Burns, her character is getting beaten within an inch of her life and all this stuff, and the little girl comes out from under basically all hell breaks loose. The little girl comes out from under the hotel. She's trying to climb this fence to get out of the alligator pen. And so so the daughter, she's like trying to reach up and grab her, pull her to safety. But you got Judd, he's like trying to, like shake the fence so the little girl will fall off and get eaten. Marilyn Burns is, she's hard, she can't walk, so she's crawling. She's able to basically push, Judd into the pit with the alligator, so he gets eaten and everything else. Is kind of like, really, it's kind of creepy but cool, because the alligator bites him by the head and drags him, kicking and screaming into the water and everything else. So, but then the sheriff comes up and kind of like, the whole movie just, it's all chaos by the end of it. There's screaming and crying and ranting and raving and stuff like that. But so yeah, this was Tobe Hooper's second movie, and supposedly there were a lot of problems when they were filming this movie, and apparently at some point Tobe Hooper even just walked off because he wasn't happy with it. Like they were forcing him to do, forcing him to shoot extra nudity that he didn't want to shoot and everything else. So yeah, but Tobe Hooper was doing a very different. He admitted he was trying to make a very different kind of movie from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's still got a lot of same kind of like a same feeling vibe to it, if that makes any sense. But It's like the color palette. He tried to make it kind of very like Wizard of Oz ish. That's what he said. And, um, the movie overall, let's see. I actually enjoy this movie. Like I said, I've known some people it gets some hate, but I do think that Tobe Hooper. I think he made a lot of good movies. My opinion. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre it's a masterpiece, but so is the second one. Salem's Lot, Poltergeist, Eaten Alive, Life Force. I didn't even think Invaders from Mars was too bad. So, The Mangler, I actually like The Mangler. So, yeah, I think Tobe Hooper is a good filmmaker. But anyway, I'm going on way too long. But anyway, yeah, I do. I like this movie, and I recommend it. And if you're a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I actually think you might get a kick out of this. You got like basically regular everyday folks being stalked by a backwoods lunatic and everything. The only difference is, instead of a chainsaw, and he's not really a cannibal in this one, but he's got the alligator eats people, and he's got the scythe. So yeah, so I say if you're a Tobe Hooper fan, check it out. So anyway, I think I've gone on just way too long, so I'm sorry about that. If anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you like the video and you're new, you haven't already, please like and subscribe to Body Bags. It's a great show. We got every day there's a different reviewer. I'm the Saturday reviewer. So yeah, we have a lot of great videos. There's a different reviewer for every day. So come back and check us out. Until then, this is Cinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'll be back next Saturday. Until then, take care. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye bye.